So moving on now, let's talk about Nobody. This
Sure.
is an action
This
film.
this is something I should have made the effort to go see and I didn't. I didn't have the time. I
You should have.
just yeah, okay. This is on my bad. I should make the effort to watch this. But I didn't.
Shame on you. You should
I
have.
I heard it was pretty good.
It
Yeah.
was right, but so right, so what is about? Well, sorry, it's actually the latest film from director Ilya Naishuler. If I got the name wrong, forgive me. He's a Russian filmmaker. He is well known for actually one of my, I believe this is, actually not believe, it is actually my favorite guilty pleasure movie of 2015. That would be Hardcore Henry.
Right.
Yeah, he directed that.
Yeah.
I thought that movie was an absolute blast. I
Yeah. It was
enjoyed
good.
it.
Yeah. That was
I
awesome.
love the video game aesthetic applied to it and how they made it work, though, not just from the first person view, but just having like just the character just go on these missions. And even that point where a guy says, "You hold him off while I do this," you know what I mean? Like on some Grand Theft Auto 3 type shit, right? But just how kinetic it was, and just the first person GoPro view basically they gave us was just awesome. And yeah, it was just so insanely over the top. There's like for me, this was like one of the best video game movies I've ever seen that is not based off a video game movie. Sorry, that isn't based off a video game. That's the best way to
Right.
describe it.
Right. Right. Right.
Right? But it's also written by Derek Kolstad, who pretty much is the creator and well the screenwriter of the John Wick franchise. So yeah, when you see the trailer fit, like even I myself was making the joke that hey, this is actually part of the John Wick universe.
Right.
Because yeah, the premise is pretty much like John Wick. I'm not saying that it is, right? But for some people, it might watch and be like, but this is like the same shit though, but it's not really, right? Which is a good thing in my opinion, right? So what's about?
Right.
It centers on a guy called Hutch Manser, right? He's played by the great Bob Odenkirk, who you know from Breaking Bad, still one of my top 5 favorite TV shows ever, and Better Call Saul, which is a follow-up that I am not in love with as yet. But then again, I've only seen 3 seasons, but I know it just got better and better and better. But I just need to just recap them, and then I'll be like, yes, I love this show. But yeah, I mean, Bob Odenkirk was just always, the crown. Well, I mean, he was just always a crown jewel in that franchise anyway, right? But yeah, he's a married man. Basically, they set up in this brilliant montage. Pretty funny as well. How seemingly ordinary and everyday and mundane his life is. Like, he just wakes up, tries to get the trash out on Fridays before by the time the garbage truck rolls around, he travels by bus, even though his wife, who's played by Connie Nielsen, travels by car. He has a son and a daughter, and he works at this metal fabrication company owned by his father-in-law, and it's just generic same old stuff over and over and over, right? So what happens basically is that one night these two robbers come in, just basically, yeah, trying to rob the place, right? Rob his home. And there is a point where Hutch could have, beaten somebody with a crowbar actually, but things don't play out the way things did not play out like that. He well, it's assumed that he hesitated, but he just kind of actually just drop his guard basically, right? And then well, we kind of learn, just through bits and pieces of information that yeah, Hutch has a past, right? And he has a particular set of skills. You just a reference taken, right?
Yeah.
So he decides, here's what. Let me actually find these people, Dre, because they stole something from her when they came to rob my place. And yeah, let me try to bring back that tough guy that is just really really trying to subdue. You know what I mean, with this new life of mine, right? So he does it, but things don't play out the way he expects, right? So one night now, and well, sorry, at the same night actually, he jumps back into a bus, and these individuals roll up, and they're drunk, and they made disorderly and all that kind of stuff. And they just picking, not so much picking fights, but they started trouble in the bus, right? So the Hutch is like, yes, this is the opportunity you're looking for. Yes, this is what I'm talking about, right? And yeah, he picks a fight with them. It is brutal, but it's dope. It's really fun to watch. And as you'd expect in in a film like this, one of the people who got hurt, well, who was being drunk in this alley, just so happened to be the relative of a Russian gangster.
Right.
Yeah, it's John Wick all over again, right? So he finds out what's going on. He's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy who beat up what's his face, right?" And then it's like, "Oh, it's him." But they really try to show that Hutch is so grimy of an individual, right? That even because he's well, basically what he sees is that he worked for agencies that have three letters, right? So FBI, CIA, blah blah blah, right? But essentially what they say is that he's so dread that they just kind of disavow any knowledge of him. So what they have like as a name is just nobody. That's his name. And like he's so brutal, Dre, like nobody even want to touch him, Dre. So when he finds out that, it's like, oh, it's him. So yeah, essentially the plan is like we if he's not gonna come to us, we have to come to him. And yeah, so it's just so what proceeds is just bad guys going after Hutch. Hutch just get rid of them. We meet a couple other people. We see his dad, who's played by Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, he in the show too. And we a little something about him too. Also, as a surprise, I didn't expect to see him in the show too. My boy RZA, he in it as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and he is the man's, wait for it, half brother. But he also know about the whole. Well, so basically, the dad and the half brother know about. Well, they all in the same circle, basically, right? So they all have that, those fighting skills, those gun skills, all that kind of stuff, right? And yeah, essentially, that's what it is. It's just really about Hutch doing his thing, stopping these bad guys, trying to save his family. But all through that, though, is just his subdued side. Well, the basically the side that he was trying to keep on the low because he wants to move on. He doesn't want to be killing people for the rest of his life, right? He wants a life that you and I to figuratively sorry have, right? But he just slowly realizes, yeah, that's just not for me, Chad. I kind of just want to be shooting people in the head and busting people bones and shit, right? That's my life. That essentially is what the show is about, right? So what makes this show work though is Bob Odenkirk. Yes,
Yeah.
he makes the show work, right? Reason being is because when you look at him, and every time you look at him in the show, Trent, he does not look like an action hero. That is his sell though, because he doesn't
Right.
look the part, right? So when he's fighting, when he's doing his stuff too, it's not like he's trying to be a badass, but it's like, oh, he's older now, so he's not as sharp or quick as he used to be, but he's still effective though. He will still gun you down with the greatest of ease. He will still break your bones with the greatest of ease as well, Dre. That is just how he is. That's how talented of a man he is. But yeah, his age is his crutch basically. So I like how they play that off. Also, I love how he's not playing the Keanu Reeves. Okay, I just want to be by myself with my dog. Basically, I'll talk to people, but I just say like short phrases and that's it. He will be cool with people, but it's just boy, this life, this just not working for me. But he would just play it because he just doesn't want to bring out that inner demon, that inner dark side, from him basically, right?
Right.
But yeah, he sells it though, and I would say also in terms of the action scenes themselves, this man put in work, but like yes, yeah, you could tell they have a little stunt man at some points in time, but most of the stuff that you see action wise involving him, it's really him when he's busting up our head with a with a bottle, it's him, right? When he's firing shots, it's him, and it works though, and he just has this how to say way this grumpy, I just stopped giving a fuck face about him every time he's doing it, but then there's also like a little glee in his face too. That's like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Especially when he has guns and he's just firing it off in slow mo. It's just like, yes, this is what I want. You know what I mean? But also too, I thought that the direction was strong in this though. Like I would lie though, Ilya, his name, the director, he has a future in terms of just making really stylized action movies, right? Like, Hardcore Henry was a great start in my opinion, but this one was like, yeah, boy, this man could just make some great action films, right, in the future. Also, just like similar to John Wick, this is a very well made film, like very well shot. The cinematography is excellent in my opinion, right? Side characters are good as well. Like Connie Nielsen, who plays the wife, she does her thing. The villain, who the Russian gangster guy, I would say he is one of the weak points in the film because, yeah, he's just this tough talking guy, but they make this thing that he goes to this nightclub, this Russian nightclub, and he does karaoke. That's what they go for in terms of characterization. That he does his karaoke stuff, right? But he's not like the real, really, really scummy tough guy uh from um from John Wick, the first film, right?
Yeah.
Like like you could tell that he was building him up to be that, but they just could have done a little bit more with his character instead of just him being this archetypal bad guy who sends goons to do his dirty work. Basically, I really felt that was a letdown. Also, in terms of how they established RZA and Christopher Lloyd's characters, I thought was solid as well. At first, they kind of wondered, like, what's the real relation? Like, okay, the family, but do they know that he's a killer? Do they know that he's skilled in this kind of stuff? But I would say near the end, they show how it works, though. And what I would say, but for some people, this might be a gripe, but to me, I dug this, right? And what I really felt this film is pretty fascinating here is that just like John Wick, right? This is one of those movies where it's not about realism. It's not about us having to stop every 5 minutes to justify everything that's going on and why you should believe everything. It really does come from a place of we love the genre of action and we just want to make this pretty kick-ass action film. Like we're not trying to reinvent the wheel at all, but we just want to do something where it's like it could feel that passion thread. So
Yeah.
yes, you have to suspend your disbelief at times, especially in the third act, which yes plays on the derivative end of things where it's it's a particular spot that they have to do the Home Alone thing where they have it's not just
Right.
guns, but they have all these tools and all these little things that they use as projectiles and all that kind of stuff. They do the Home Alone thing, right? But they do it very, very, very well though. But you've seen this stuff before and stuff like what Skyfall or the
Yeah.
Equalizer. You've seen
Right. Right.
you
Right.
see shit like this before, right? But they make it work here. They make it work. But again, it's one of those shows where you will see things play out and you have to just kind of accept that, all right, this is the world. This is the world of nobody, right? Like things will happen, just small things, not big, big, big major things. But or characters would do something, but you're just like, all right, but why would you do that for? But the
Right.
excuse is, oh well, it's the character. It's either it's the character, we have to get the story rolling, or this is just a cool scene. So yeah, it's like John Wick. It's very heavy on style though. There's substance, but not a lot of substance in it. But you could argue that's kind of the point in the show. And this last thing was before I get to rate it. I would say this is like I don't want to say like a new breed of action movies. But it's one of those where it is about the action. It is about the familiarity in a sense, right? So
Right.
wh- while you may not buy into the logic of everything, I'm not saying this is Fast Nine level, action or violence, but just the story itself, how the beats and how things play out. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, because of how well made the show is, because of how the actors are selling this, especially Bob Odenkirk, and especially of how much fun I'm having watching this,
Yeah.
I could kind of just shut my brain off just for just a little bit, not too much.
No,
I
you don't mind.
just enjoy it. That's
Right.
what it
Right.
is. So I know for some people, especially like those who grew up on 80s and 90s action films, they just watch this like, but this is dumb. This is just an excuse to have a man with a silencer shoot men in the head and all that kind of stuff. And it's like the action films that we grew up on, man. But I would make the argument it's not supposed to be. It's more like a celebration of the genre itself. So it's not like the show is trying to teach you some kind of lesson about the world and how violence is the answer. It's like, no, in a world like this, in a genre like this, it's kind of cool seeing that guy in his 50s or whatnot just kicking ass. And that's the point of Nobody. That's what it is, right? They do leave a little hints or, of a sequel in, I would say, in a subtle but kind of a sloppy way, in my opinion. But it wasn't enough to take me away from the show, though, because honestly, I would love to see a sequel. I'm not sure if you'll get one anytime soon. I doubt it will be in the vein of a John Wick. And last thing I'll just say, last thing before I get to read it does not go as deep in world building as John Wick does, but it's still enough for you to be like, I would love to see the food adventures of Hutch and whoever else survives in this movie. I would love to see what happens next. So, rating wise, while it's not the best action film I've seen all year, it is one of the most enjoyable I've seen in quite some time. And yes, you can compare it to John Wick. You can make the argument that John Wick is better than this, or this is a John Wick clone. Man. Like, unfortunately, this is going to be tacked on at that point. Oh, is a John Wick clone? But I think that the show really goes out of its way to say,
But John Wick,
sure, it's
John Wick
inspired
itself,
by it, but
exactly. But John Wick itself,
you know,
pretty derivative. So it's like, well,
exactly.
yeah.
And before I get to read it, and I know you'll have people who come down and say, once again, as I say, derivative. But there's nothing new or original about this, so why should I care? It's just the same old, same old. But again, it's escapist entertainment. You watch it, it's only an hour and a half long, you have fun with it. You probably wouldn't remember it like hours after you see, like, like me, I would admit I saw this a couple of years ago, and it's not like I was remembering certain shots or whatnot, but I do remember, still remember enjoying it, and I would watch it over again, just not in a hurry. But I would still say it is worth checking out nonetheless. So I'm feeling a strong 3.5 out of 5, man. I would say, yeah, this is worth checking out. But don't go in expecting this thing to reinvent the wheel. Uh, it's okay to compare to John Wick. It's fine. It knows that it's similar to it. But I like that they do little things to kind of let well, we kind of like the same and the different at the same time now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just about the celebration of the genre. And that's what it is. So if you like your action films to be original, like you looking for another Christopher Nolan flick, well, sorry, you're not gonna get this with this movie here. But if you just like slam bam, tack you bam,
Well,
just kick ass action,
yeah,
yeah,
because
that's
I heard,
what it is. That's
yeah,
what it
because
is.
I heard the thing about this film was the subversion of the trope of, oh well, instead of just being the badass, what about the person who want to avoid being the badass for this, that, or the other reason? Like I heard that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reason I wanted to make the effort to see. It's like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing with it. That kind of interesting. Like it's taken from John Wick, but it's not about. It's like acknowledging, you want to turn it off, and the real struggle is
Yeah.
turning off the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now to show the flip side now of the John Wick formula. Let me talk about Vanquish.
Right.
Now, this is a film that stars Morgan Freeman, Academy Award winner,
Yeah, okay, yeah, great, yeah, great.
as the trailer say, yeah,
Yeah.
great actor, great actor. I mean that all of his films of late
Yeah, yeah.
Oscar worthy, but we love the man, right? And your girl,
Who's
Ruby Rose.
oh boy.
And yeah, I mean, speaking of John Wick, yeah, she was in John Wick too, right? That character that you keep referencing every time you talk about Ruby Rose.
No, yeah. So yeah, the whole thing on me and the argument I make with her is that yeah, she's one of the best. Once you don't run that camera, yeah, and you just keep the frame rate at one, you're good, right? She's look good, good photogenic now, wise, but Kakato, Kakato, just good screen presence, and we see that time and time again. I've never defended her as an actress, never.
Yeah,
Everything she's been in, she's always just, oh, she's just looking good, but that's about it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
so for me, I understand. Yeah. So for me, the reason why I watched Vanquish, because honestly, I would not have watched this at all, and not just because of Ruby, right? Is because of the references people were making, sorry, to John Wick. People
right.
were seeing that this was a John Wick wannabe, trying to be John Wick, you know what I mean? John Wick light, you know what I mean? Shit like
Right.
that. No. So me being me, I just kind of looked at it as, okay, well, we have nobody's out that's being called a John Wick clone, but at least you see how you could take the same formula and make it work. But
Yeah,
let's see flip side to it, basically. So that's why I looked at Vanquish, just more of a analysis perspective. Not so much me ripping apart, Ruby's acted, right? Which I will in a bit. So what it's about, right? It stars, well, right, so Ruby plays Victoria, right? and she is a caretaker for Morgan Freeman's character. His name is Demon, right? And he was this retired police officer. He got shot, so because of that, he can't walk again. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
He's in a wheelchair, and Victoria has a daughter, right? So
Right.
we learned early on that Damon is a shady cop, right? So
Right.
he's trying to collect all this drug money basically. That's some people who, just individuals, some drug men who basically don't wanna pay him now. So he's like, oh, okay, you don't want to pay him, all right, cool. I'll just come by the crib and collect my money. And if all they do it, well, bust a shot, right? Now, of course, he not gonna do it by himself, because he in a wheelchair and shit, right? So the guy that he not the basically the guy he used to hire now to do the job, I believe was revealed to be he was an undercover cop or something like that. So his goons interrogate him and torture him and kill him, right? Basically, right? So it's like, all right, well, I need to do this thing, but who I gonna pick? So conveniently he picks Victoria, because
Right.
as we learn, and it's no surprise, yes, she was a assassin, basically. She was a killer back in the days, and she just kind of put that life down because she have a daughter now, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, of course, the daughter has some illness, and
Of
it's
course.
to the point of like being life threatening. So she's making that money, so she could pay for the treatment and all that stuff, right? So that's as close as characterization we're gonna get, right? So the demon's like, all right, um, so we through this, right? He he asked her through this, like he knew about the skills that she had, right? So he's like, you know what? I just want you to do this job for me. It'll just take one night. I just want you to just pick up, just go to 5 spots. Just pick up money in 5 spots, right? Just do that for me. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm not about that life anymore. And it's about my daughter and all that good shit,
Right.
right? So next night now she shows up, and he has the daughter kidnapped as a demon, right? But what it actually is, right? Like you would think it was in some old abandoned place, some place away from where he is. 'Cause he lives in this real bougie ass house, basically, right? It's actually in the house itself. It's in some room, that only he knows where it is and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. So she's in the house, basically. Daughter is in the house, right? But the real play it off like she in danger, right? But she just basically in this room all by herself, right? But the real play it like, oh my god, she's in danger, and So yeah, essentially he has a blackmailing, sorry, not blackmailing, but more or less forces Victoria to do the job there.
Right.
And I'm gonna talk about Ruby Rose's acting in a minute, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what it is. She just has to do these jobs. She has to pick up this money at 5 spots. Of course, there's goons about, so she has to come in strapped, and it's just all about trying to do what she have to do and get her daughter back, and that pretty much is the film itself, right? So to start with Miss Rose's acting, right? The moment that she finds out that the daughter is kidnapped, right? All right, I'll go into spoilers here, right? So, Mr. Freeman, right? God rest his soul, right? God bless his soul, sorry. Shows off of his phone, that the daughter's in this sort of a panic room area, right?
Yeah.
And you would think with him being in a wheelchair, right, and her being her, she would have like snapped her and just like rush him, like choke him or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Or start a cuss him out like that. She doesn't do neither of those things, Jet. Like literally she maintains pretty much the same stoic face throughout the entirety of this movie. And the funny thing is,
Yeah.
there's this little story, right? Because I had to watch the stank of watching this movie, right? Eventually I actually got a hold of the Bruce Lee box set, right? From Criterion, right? So I was
Right.
watching his first movie, right? The Big Boss, right? And say what you want about Bruce Lee being just a guy who just fights and kicks people and all that kind of stuff. The boy was an actor, like a serious actor.
Yeah. I do think he's a decent enough actor as it is.
Yeah,
I
not
don't have
the
a problem.
greatest, sir, but
Yeah. No. Yeah.
right.
But here's the problem. Look, you have two types of actors. You have people who could do an affect, and then you have legitimately great actors, right? You have the affect people. So here's a person I'll put in the affect camp. Gal Gadot, right? I don't think Gal Gadot is a particularly good actress. However, what she has done is she has a good affect that makes her perfectly fit into the like a Lego piece into the Wonder Woman role, right? That is why she works, and all the directors and everybody who know talent, and well, the two directors most notably, Zack Snyder and what was her name?
Patty Jenkins.
Pat Jenkins, right? Uh, understand this, right? They understand this, they fit it in well, and they make it work. Problem with that is that you can only kind of get away with that like once. It's a one-shot thing, right?
Right.
In Ruby Rose's case, she had a good affect. I think she has a good affect. She has a great look. I always love her look from the beginning. Real smoldering, good model look. But if you don't make me tailor a role around that, it is fail real hard. I liked her in John Wick too, right? Because of that, and they just made her mute. Sorry to say it. Don't talk.
Yeah.
Just have a scowl, do stuff with the face, and then that's it. But when it's time to read, it's time to actually read lines and do that and do a proper emotion. It don't work. It don't work at all.
That's
And
the problem. Yeah.
she as an actress, she don't work in anything. You had to fit her. Like when she was in Orange is the New Black, she wasn't half bad. But again, it was a kind of stereotype kind of thing, right? A little bit, right? Oh, she's this androgynous lesbian in prison, in a female prison. Wow. Like, yeah, it kind of fit the stereotype too much, right? But in this, it's well, not this movie, but in her stuff and other stuff, it just don't work at all. That's why, frankly, I think she's terrible. She was terrible in Batwoman because of that too. Same problem.
Well, yeah,
However,
but this is just me seeing the series premiere. Like I still know, like I know I kind of have to watch the first season so I can understand
I watch it
where the
because
second season goes. But I've been sticking. I'm just not even sticking. I just like don't know, but I don't know if I could take that.
Yeah, I don't personally. I don't think you're missing much because it's thing. The new girl also have the similar problem, But I'll we gotta get into that for a second. We'll talk about that when the time come, whenever the time come. But yeah, it's the same.
Sure.
You had to know what you're doing with the material and make it work. So
yeah. But you're absolutely right though. Like I felt like they just could have worked the herself as in Ruby Rose around the character now. Instead of okay, we need you to be this way, so you need to deliver lines this way because this is how I wrote the character to be. So I'm expecting at this moment, right, with Morgan Freeman revealing that he kidnapped the daughter, for her to just snap, just to lash out, and she's just like standing still and not even reacting the way you think she would react now. And then it's like, okay, what do I do? Almost as if, okay, you just have her there. All right, cool. Let me just do this, and you'll give you'll give she back, right? Okay, that's it. Like you're supposed to be like lashing out to this guy, this old man in a wheelchair. You're supposed to be going off on him. It's just not like, oh well, all right, well, okay, well since since I don't have much of a choice, all right, fine, okay. And again, just to go back to the whole Bruce Lee thing. Say what you want, be like, yeah, he kicks people and punches people in the face. But he knew how to do facial features very well, even if it's for comical effect, right?
Yeah.
And I won't lie, while I was watching Vanquish, like throughout the show, not just in that one scene, I was like, Ruby. I was literally rooting for her in this, trying to. I was like, Ruby, just do a smirk. Just
something.
Do something. Just twerk your eye or something. Just something. Come on, you can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it, Ruby. Do it, Ruby. And no, it is the same freaking. Sorry, it is the same stoic face. Like, okay, so it have a couple of moments where she smile, but that's just with the where she with the daughter. But other than that, is the same look dread throughout. And I'm like, God, why? Just try, Ruby. Just try. Come on. Prove yourself now. And she just doesn't do it. There's moments with her literally going up to collect the drug money, right? In these fight spots, right? So one thing this film does very well, right? So she have a holster, right? Gun holster to behind her, like literally on her back, right? Spine of a sorry, the base of her spine, basically, right? With two guns sticking out, right? And she would go into clubs, she would go into drug guys' cribs and whatnot, and it would be like a security guard, and you just kind of just learn and like, oh, she's here to see the boss. Okay, let's let her in. She had
Yeah,
two guns behind her, and all 5 times, if not all 5 times, ends with a shootout. And you just like let this woman in, like, yeah, cool, that's yeah, two guns, you know what I mean? It's not like you're gonna use them, right? Okay, you just want to see the boss, right? Come on, man, Jed. Action movie 101, Jed. Like
yeah,
come on, man, Jed. Like, it's things like this, Jed, is just run me up a wall. Like, you think for something as basic as a movie like this, because yeah, this is incredibly basic, incredibly derivative, incredibly by the numbers. Something as simple as, oh, pat she down there, and then
right.
oh, put she in a position where she have no guns, and she had a use she, she's smart and whatnot, she fight she way out, and yeah, then she get the guns and go all John Wick on men. No, that doesn't happen. Just learn with guns. That's what they do, right? And speaking of that, she doesn't even like throw any punches or anything like that. It's just all reliant on just her using guns. That's it. She just
Yeah,
pulls she two guns, she just fire a couple of shots, and that's it. And speaking of two shots and that's it, right? You take it, oh, John Wick style, right? So,
right,
you gotta have that scene like in the first movie where she in this nightclub and just gunning people down. And there's literally a scene with her in a nightclub,
right.
and I did like thinking, oh shit, this is gonna go down. No, it
Yeah,
just ends with her pretty much freeing some prostitute girl out
yeah.
the back door, and that's
They,
it.
they,
That's
they,
that's
they,
the end of the
they-
scene.
yeah, they that type. They that type to do a actual action sequence. She had type for that.
Boy.
But I just think that's another thing with these movies, that these rip-off movies. Now you're saying Tig was not a rip-off movie, but this is right. This is more a rip-off John Wick movie. Um, are you saying that? That's before I continue.
Nah, I am seeing that. I am seeing that. This is
Right,
a wannabe John Wick.
right.
This is not.
Here's the thing.
It's trying to be inspired by, but this is more of a fake knockoff than anything else.
Right,
Right?
right. But that's the thing. One of the big things about the John Wick films, again, they're not deep, but the whole point is just have a good action sequence. If they just sit down and say, look, you get the best of the best to do a good action sequence, them boys, they always need work, so get them a project and just have them design a good run through with for Ruby Rose to do. Now, to be fair, I do think in her case, from what I understand, the reason why she can do it is the reason why she had to leave Batwoman, right? Because she got injured.
Right,
Um,
right.
but that again is like, hey, why are you still picking these action roles then? It's kind of weird, right?
I
But
know, right?
yeah, but it's fine. But to me, you gotta sit down and like make a sequence now, or at least do some good. You don't have to do as extreme as Taken, but you could do the whole cut around edit thing, right? Get a good edit, cut around you, and have a good stunt person work with that as it is, or something. Whatever. But you can't just be the cut around and then you can't cut and then cut a whole action sequence out. Yeah, that's the action, man.
Exactly, and that's what people sign up to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, boy, this, I mean, as derivative as it is, this is just unabashedly cheap shit, like just
Yeah,
shockingly cheap shit, and I'm like in shock though, because
yeah,
you have not just
yeah,
Morgan Freeman in your film, you have Ruby Rose as well, who you have seen in big budget films, shit. And they are the only two main big actors in this film. Dread. Everybody else is just people that you probably saw in some CW show, or
yeah.
some, I don't know, something, right? And
Some bullshit.
yeah, some bullshit, Dread. And you're like, where did money even going? Like, even right now,
Yeah,
the cinematography, it just
I'm on it.
flat, it just basic, it just
I gotta be doing
blah.
it. Yeah,
Like,
gotta get rid of
all
that.
the money can't be going into Morgan Freeman
This-
wallet, right?
That is a
And
possibility.
speaking,
That's
yeah,
a possibility because that is royal kill movies. You get a
yeah,
star, you think the star gonna do a little something, and then you realize now, well, they just spend a certain money and you waste all that money,
yeah.
Smash a Montano.
Oh, well, okay, well, okay. I wasn't going there. I wasn't going there. Who I was gonna bring up was Bruce Willis, boy, because yeah, Morgan, I love you, right? Yes, God, right? I'm God, right? As I say in
Yeah,
Bruce Almighty, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
don't, this man was sleepwalking through this whole movie,
yeah,
Chad.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was.
Yeah, they
And
just
it's
and
like
this
where
is
basically
this is
it's like where is where Bruce Willis is right now in his career with all
yeah,
these direct to video or VOD movies. Basically, him just sleepwalking through a role. That is what Morgan Freeman doing in this movie. It's like you could just like the moment you see him in the movie, is like, nah, this man deserves to be in a much better film trend.
Yeah. No, this is one of the things I find is one of the most uncharitable things towards modern filmmakers, like especially small filmmakers. This whole star power problem that I really hate. I really fucking hate when this happens. You have a bunch of stars. You have a star. The only reason in the fucking movie is just for you to get the hype now, just to say you have the star in it, and then he's the main reason you end up wasting a lot of the actual material and time on it now. Again, when I say Marshall Montano, I don't mean Marshall Montano per se, but his movie, right? They get
I
somebody from,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
get,
know Basity, yeah.
yeah, Bazodi, right? They get somebody from Game of Thrones, and you get to elevator pitch that to get more money. And in my opinion, he was by far the weakest in the fucking movie, because it's like he didn't do anything. He was just there looking sexy and acting some, but that's it.
And then he
Nothing
just
else.
left the,
And he
this
bust out. On
this
top of that,
yeah.
he bust out. So I can imagine they spent a ton of money just to get this guy here, and he's the one who kind of undermine, the project in a way. No,
Yeah.
that's how it feel. Like that's how it feel. I don't know the actual details of where the money went or anything like that, but that's how it felt. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So wrapping up in a few, right? But
Right.
yeah, boy, this man was just sleepwalking through all this. It's like he wasn't putting in effort, but you could tell
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
his mind is, yeah, I just do this for a paycheck, I mean, this is just nothing to me. This can't take me a whole weekend.
Yeah.
I just literally in this one living room basically through the entirety of the movie.
No. Yeah.
This is just to show how bad his role was, right? There's a moment. This is a high-speed chase, right? So what going on is that Ruby has these two cams, right, on her body, right? A helmet cam and a body cam, right? And there's a moment with her on this high-speed chase, right? Some goons chasing you down, right? And he's seeing everything from home, and he's like, "Go left,
Right.
turn right,
Right.
go up here,
Yeah. He's the
go
man in
down
the chair.
there."
Man in the chair. Yeah.
Yeah, he not
Ma-
even
ma-
like reacting like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? There's a moment, and it's straight to the trailer where, oh gosh, so this is like the highlight of the movie, yeah? Of the movie, yeah?
yeah.
And it's something you've seen millions of times involving high speed chases involving motorbikes, right? Where the character on the bike, leans and then ducks underneath this truck,
Something.
this moving truck. They
Yeah.
do
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
And
Yes.
he's
It's
like,
usually a truck, right?
yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And that's the reaction.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's it. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, no, 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 no. I mean, it's your money. She have the money. She have your money. You supposed to be like, hey, don't let that money get burnt up, or else, right? It's like, no, turn left, turn right, turn this, right? What else? The side characters are just kind of bland and non-existent. There's one in particular where you could tell they were trying to play. If you remember this movie Boogie Nights, right? Remember there was this drug dealer guy, and he was like real animated and over the top, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's only when he realized, oh shit, you fucking with me. That's when he flip out now. So they do that dread, and it's like this, like they try to play it off like he's like this stereotypical gay man, but he's actually not, because yeah, when he flip is just like, he's not. So clearly it's a straight man trying to play gay, but it just really looks awkward and dumb, right? But he lets out probably the best line in the whole movie, and that is, "I heard you kill more people than Quentin Tarantino," right?
Right.
"I heard you kill more people than Quentin Tarantino."
Right. Right.
Because this
Yeah.
movie's so cheap, dread. And I made this joke on Facebook. It's only like 6 to 8 people who get killed up to that
Right.
point. First, the movie didn't have enough money. They couldn't even afford people. Couldn't afford stuntmen to get killed. And I'm like, wow. And they were playing it off like, oh, she's this uber badass. But like, what do? You just pull out your two guns and firing shots and driving off on a motorbike. That's really it. There's even a moment where she throws like a little grenade, and then she rides off, and they play it off like, oh my god, there's gonna be explosion. This one little explosion, boom, and that's it. That's the scene. That's the moment, right?
Oh,
Last thing I'll see before I get to rate it, and they even fuck up the style of the movie. So in that same moment, right, with the same drug guy who's playing gay but he not, right? There's a moment where he drugs her, right? And oh my god. If there's one scene, Ricardo, you have to see to see how bad this movie is this scene, right? So she's drugged up, right? So she about to pass out, right? And Morgan over the camera and whatnot, because well, they have a little radio stuff, right? He's like, "Come on, wake up, come on, fight it." And she has the same stoic face that she had from early on, Dread. No change, no blinking of the eyes, no
Yeah,
twitching of the lips, nothing. Just one stone cold face she have while she is spazzing out, Dread. And it's like, is there coke nearby? And yeah, there's actually like a glass table with coke on it. So she just rushes towards it and just throws it on her face now. And they try to do where her eyes dilate, right? But they do it in this
they do the
really
same.
goofy looking way. It's like, oh
Yeah,
gosh,
they
man,
do the
like
same. Yeah, it's the same joke from Bird of Prey. Birds of Prey.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
Harley Quinn, right? Yeah.
right. And it's like, wow, boy, like y'all could even get the super stylized shot to even look good,
That's it.
boy. Like
Mhm.
this is not even After Effects or VFX look, like what you would pay a man on Fiverr to do. It
Yeah.
it doesn't even look like that. Right? It just looks like
yeah,
this poorly made.
yeah, you say some real brutal day, boy. Now you my man on Fiverr to do that real good.
Yeah, boy. Like God,
That
like
real good. That real.
I really wanted to see that scene though. It just
That
looks
real.
so bad. And they play it off for laughs. Well, it's more for style than laughs, but it just didn't work, Jenna. As a whole, boy, this movie just didn't work. It's clearly trying to be a John Wickish kind of show, boy, but from the moment they just had Ruby in it, Jed, it just that was
Yeah.
just the death knell right there, Jed. And I
Yeah.
would say, like I said, I was like literally shouting at the screen like, "Come on, Ruby, do something, do something, show a
Mm.
little change of like twitch your mouth or something like that." And that, like I said, is what Bruce Lee did very well. Like yes, it always relied on him just kicking ass and whatnot, but still he had these mannerisms with his face, Jed. You know what I mean? When he was drunk, when he's happy, when he's sad, when he's trying to, when he's about to lash out now. You know what I mean? He did that so well with his face there. And why I keep bringing up Bruce Lee is that it kind of shows that yes, action heroes, or at least acting in action films, isn't always reliant on how cool you look with a gun or how cool you look kicking somebody in the face. Is yeah, your mannerisms as well too. You know what I mean? Like before, like what leads up to the fight, basically. And that was what I was hoping at least by now in her career, Dread, since she wanted to be an action hero and all that kind of stuff, that Ruby
Right.
would at least attempt to do Dread. But nah, boy, she
Yeah, she
could not
doesn't.
even do that.
Yeah, they
Even
doesn't.
worse, even worse, the dialogue. But yes, the dialogue is generic and all that too. But she couldn't even sell it. When she angry, it's just this one tone. When she's sort of concerned, same
Yeah.
tone. You know what I
And
mean?
next year.
And there's nothing dread. It's just watching a blank slate basically try to act dread. And look, I want to see the best for her in life, Dread, and in her career, boy. But she just it's not even so much about her finding better roles, boy. She just need to just step up. Sorry, her acting game, boy. Like
Yeah.
really step things up, Dread. You can't just Selma on a stoic face. You can't just do that. You can't just do that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Theory
rough.
wise, this guy 1 out of 5, boy. Of
Jesus.
course it sucked.
So, yeah.
But again, I watch it just as a comparison, to nobody. Like, no people will keep saying that nobody is a John Wick ripoff. I would say no. This is a is a ripoff of John Wick, and a terrible ripoff of it. But we supposed to be getting it in theaters very soon. I actually saw the trailer for this before the last film I'm gonna talk about, which is funny. And yeah, boy, there was moments in it I was like, oh yeah, that happened, boy. And I literally watched the movie a day before I
And you
saw
forget.
this film in theaters.
Right.
And there's
Wow.
so much I forget from it. That's how bland and sorry, I always say oops, unforgettable this thing is, Dread. Don't even waste your time with it.
Mm.
I do know who to recommend this to. I can't recommend it to Morgan Freeman fans because he just sleepwalked through all this. I can't even recommend this to Ruby Rose fans because I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're a fan, you'll like it, but oh gosh, man, even you and all will watch this and be like, no, she is not so much she deserves better, Dread. She needs to do better, Dread. And nah,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't, I don't, I don't know what you see the problem with her. I don't know what going on with her. As I say, the injury changes the dynamic of her as acting, but her agent is like they get back one and then that fall through, and now it's like she in a bad spiral now. And whatever, it's one film she could, anybody could recover, but still do. Like something going on with the agency, whoever it is. I will,
With
as I say,
well,
the big factor is her injuries and how you're gonna deal with that physically. At the end of the day, once you have bad health, phew, that's the end of your career. Sorry to say it. Next impossible if you have bad health to build from that and move on. Virtually impossible, I would argue. But well,
yeah, that's true. But what I would say though, I would say that if you're curious or if you just want to see a bad film, watch it. But nah, you could just do so much more. You could find so much more to watch.
yeah, but it don't sound like a bad movie, like fun kind of thing. Like it don't
No,
sound
it's
like
not.
that.
Like I thought at least it was gonna be on that level, no, but it's not
Yeah.
because it just takes itself so seriously. And then at one moment, like I say with the drug thing, try to play it off like it's supposed to be stylish and funny, but nah, it just looks terrible, right?
Yeah, rough.
Yeah, saddest. Hey, this is Matthew Bailey, and I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the BS Beats and Bailey podcast. If you'd like to hear the full episode, hit up my link tree. On the other side of my head are 2 videos you can check out. Like this video if you like it, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell as well. Thanks for listening, and until the next one, take care, peace.